It's Breaking It Down with Frank MacKay.
Long Island is definitely the place for you.
Now, here's your host, Frank MacKay, on 107.1 WLIR-FM Hampton Bays.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to Breaking It Down. Frank MacKay here. So much more importantly, our very special guest is Susanne Katchko, and she is the Cantor and the spiritual leader for the Jewish Center of the Moriches. And the subject today is an event they have coming up tomorrow, which is Thursday. And at 7 p.m., they'll have a speaker, Dr. David M. Milch, and he is a doctor, but he's also the son of two Holocaust survivors, and he'll be talking about all types of all types of issues. And you can imagine, if you know anything about Dr. Milch, you will know how fascinating his speech will be. But without further ado, let me bring in Susanne Katchko. Susanne, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Frank. Thanks for having me.
I imagine you're very excited about Dr. Milch. Can you give us a little background information on him before we get into you and the center? But this sounds like a fascinating event that you're having, and the speeches I'm sure will be wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Dr. Milch is just the most creative entrepreneur and philanthropist that I could imagine. He did study as a physician, but then he's devoted his life to founding biotech startups, and he won a Tony on Broadway for Finian's Rainbow as a producer. He believes in supporting the arts for social change. He has a mentoring program for underserved youth. He just does so much.
Yeah, I know. He sounds like one of those unique individuals. Tell us a little something about the center and the synagogue and what you've been doing there. And is this a series of speakers that you have? Is it a one-off? Give us a little background on what you're doing with the speaking series.
Sure. Dr. Milch's event is the kickoff to a speaker series that is in process of being formulated. And what a kickoff it is. We are a small conservative synagogue here right at the opening of the Hamptons. And it's just a great place, very warm, spiritual, fun. We love music. We love learning together. It's a great place. I'm so blessed to be here.
Let's get a little background on you. And if you don't mind, give us a little history lesson, Susanne. Where were you born? Where were you raised?
Sure. I was born in Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm glad you mentioned the word history because I'm the daughter and granddaughter of wonderful cantors. That's kind of the family business. And my grandfather, Adolf Katchko, was a world-renowned cantor and composer, one of the greatest composers of the 20th century of synagogue music. So I had it in the air, in my bones, my whole life. And of course, I grew up in a generation when women were not cantors. So it wasn't an early ambition for me. And then how wonderful that doors opened eventually for women in the Jewish clergy, in the movements of conservative and reform.
Well, let me ask you, something about that, and I'm sure the audience would like to know when did that start changing in the Jewish faith? Of course, in the Catholic faith, which I was raised in, we still don't have a female priest, and again, that's something that I hope the Pope will correct shortly, because it's to me it's just it's outrageous. Not asking you to comment on that, but when did you start seeing female cantors and spiritual leaders in the church, in the synagogue? I'm sorry.
Sure. Well, first, if we consider this not a comment, I just want to say, yay, we need more people like you, Frank. We're in the same crowd. But about in the 1970s, the first women cantors and rabbis started appearing in Judaism. However, in the 1930s, a woman named Regina Jonas became a rabbi in Germany, the first woman rabbi. And unfortunately, she was one of the 6 million victims of the Holocaust. Yet another seed of generations and generations of brilliant people snuffed out. But that was an unusual situation. But women started becoming cantors in about the 70s and 80s. In fact, my sister, Cantor Deborah Katchko Gray, who is the founder of the Women Cantors Network, was the second full-time female conservative cantor in the United States.
Wow.
And I have details about it. It was so interesting. She had people. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It sounds like your family is a breakthrough type family, and I'll tell you, it's a combination of you and Dr. Milch, right?
Yes.
David M. Milch. Let me just remind folks that are just tuning in or turning on their radios a little later than the start. Dr. David M. Milch will be speaking at the Jewish Center of the Moriches tomorrow, Thursday night, 7 p.m., and it's a free event, we should mention, and we have the cantor of that wonderful synagogue, the little synagogue that could, they call it, right? Susanne Katchko. And they're doing wonderful things over there on a speaking series and so many other things. But we're talking here about the speakers series, and of course Dr. Milch is the son of 2 Holocaust survivors, and it's so important, Susanne, that we keep the idea and the survivors. Their memories alive, to make sure that we never have a situation like we experienced, less than 100 years ago. That was unthinkable. Dr. Milch, do you have any idea of what Dr. Milch will be talking about and what the layout of his speech will be? Because quite frankly, there's a lot of things that he could choose from. He's done quite a few things.
Absolutely. So what I know is he's going to talk about his process of becoming the philanthropist that he became and the kinds of motivations that he's had and the kinds of results that he's achieved. The name of the event is Tikkun Olam in Changing Times. And Tikkun Olam is the Hebrew term for repairing the world. And in our Jewish tradition, we believe that it's every single person's obligation to repair even a tiny, tiny piece of the world, to uncover even one hidden spark of divinity in the world. And certainly Dr. Milch devotes his life to uncovering those sparks of divinity. But that all of us can. So that's part of the gift of this event and its title, is that we're also spreading the message that, hey, be a world repairer.
Yeah,
we all have that power.
It's a wonderful concept. Can you tell us about any of the other speakers coming up? And, certainly we appreciate your time, and I'm going to try to get down there on Thursday, and we urge everyone else to. It is a free event to see Dr. David M. Milch at the center. Can you tell us about any of the other upcoming speakers that may be booked?
I can just say everything is in process. We're talking to a composer. We're talking to a judge. There are just so many possibilities, but it's not completely put together yet. But Frank, I would love to come back and tell you when it's all put together.
Yeah, well, we look forward to that, and you have an open invite, and I just want to tell you to just keep up the great work there. Before you go, can you give us the address? Give us again the time and exact place and attire. I guess, right? It's summer, right? So
it's summer,
and give us the rundown.
Sure. Thanks a lot. By the way, let me just mention that we're opening the program with a performance by our youth choir, and that alone is worth the trip. They are just fabulous. They're beautiful. It's at 227 Main Street, which is, I think, another name for Montauk Highway.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, and we're right next to the library. So if you're going east, it's immediately after the library, the Center Milch's library. And the attire is just be you. We want to see you. We're delighted to have you. The doors will open at 6:45. And the event, we're hoping, will begin at 7 or very shortly afterwards.
Real quick, we're up against time. Do you have a website or a social media site you could point us to?
Yes, we do. Jewish Center of the Moriches.com.
Susanne Katchko, thank you very much, and we look forward to the rest of your series.
Thank you so much, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Frank MacKay signing off, urging everyone to try to make it. It's a free event. And again, Dr. David M. Milch, fascinating individual philanthropist and the son of Holocaust survivors. And Dr. Milch will be speaking 7 p.m. At this event that we've been talking about. Susanne Katchko has been our very special guest. She is the Cantor and the spiritual leader of the Jewish Center of the Moriches. Please get down there. Frank MacKay signing off. We'll see you all next time on Breaking It Down.
This is Breaking It Down with your host, Frank MacKay, on 107.1 WLIR-FM Hampton Bays.